Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome back to the show. Like we do every day, Lewis, I want to say hello to a new David Pakman Show member. Something curious about the person I'm saying hello to today. His first name and his last name differ by only one letter. That's not that common.
No. I'm trying to find the name here. What is it?
It's David Davis.
Oh.
That's something. I mean, I think that's
Double
probably,
D.
of all of the members we have, it's probably the person who has the closest first name to their last name.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, an accomplishment. I don't know.
Do you think his friends call him Double D or Dub D or DD or just D?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're looking for another way to support the David Pakman Show,
we ask the important questions here.
If you do any Amazon.com shopping, do it through the David Pakman Show website Amazon banner. You click it, you bookmark it, you do all your shopping through that link, and it redirects some money away from Amazon and towards supporting independent media. It's a magical thing, isn't it, Lewis?
Do it. Magic.
Lewis in a weird mood today. I don't know what's going on. Speaking of moods, actually, we all decided to take the Myers-Briggs personality test the other day, Lewis. And I actually came across this because I took this years ago when either applying for a job or something, and then took it again at some other point in a grad class, and I always had the same result, and I wondered, now that it's been years, and I feel like I'm somewhat different than I used to be, I wonder if the results would be the same or not. And I took it, and it was exactly the same. Now, the Myers-Briggs personality test is the one that gives you the 4-letter result, okay? I took it, Lewis took the test, Natan also took the test. So who do we start with here?
You.
Okay, we'll start with me. So my result was ENTJ, and this is a category that is among the rarest. It's 2 to 5% of the population. It says ENTJs tend to be self-driven, motivating, energetic, assertive, confident, and competitive. They take a big picture view and build a long-term strategy. They typically know how, they typically know what they want, and may mobilize others to help them attain their goals. Now, if you look at other well-known ENTJs, right? Napoleon, Margaret Thatcher, Golda Meir, Julius Caesar, Carl Sagan, Aristotle, and Sigmund Freud. You know what's concerning me about that? A couple of the people that Newt Gingrich named and compared himself to in that compilation, that incredibly megalomaniac, grandiose compilation of himself to other people, he mentions that he is kind of like Margaret Thatcher, and also I think says he is kind of like, is it Napoleon or Aristotle? I don't remember which it is now.
Can't remember. But maybe he took the test too, and that's where he got these ideas from.
You think that that's what it is?
Who knows?
Idea that I share personality traits with Newt Gingrich is definitely disturbing to me. But so that was my result, and I guess that tends to be extroverted, thinking rather than feeling, and what else is it?
Judging.
Judging, and what's the N for? I forget what the N is. It's not sensing. S would be sensing.
Intuition.
What's the N? Intuition. Intuitive rather than sensing. Okay. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis is an ISTJ. This is 10 to 15% of the population. It's a much more common personality coordinate system, so to speak. Now, the thing is, the description is not ringing any bells, Lewis. It says ISTJs are faithful, logical. I mean, we've seen the paranormal belief stuff. Organized. It's impossible to get Lewis to even keep a calendar. Sensible. He made a $10,000 bet saying that Advil was the same thing as aspirin. And an earnest traditionalist who enjoys keeping his life and environment well regulated. I don't know, maybe that part is somewhat accurate.
Typically reserved and serious.
They earn success through their thoroughness and extraordinary dependability. I don't know. Do you think, I mean, when you read it, give me your honest sense. Does that sound like you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like the same way I answered those questions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Famous ISTJs, Herbert Hoover and Harry Truman. That's a little concerning. Kirk Douglas, not bad. Clint Eastwood. You're a fan of Clint, aren't you?
I like Clint. Yeah.
And this is my favorite, Greta Garbo. Lewis's personality apparently reminiscent of Greta Garbo, which is fascinating. And then lastly, Natan, who is an ENFJ. ENFJ are typically teachers. They're also part of the 4 idealists, which my personality type is also a part of, and really only differing from my personality type by 1 letter. I mean, when you took the questions, Natan, you told me, based on personality type, you may assess the questions differently. There may be some kind of an experimenter's bias built in.
Yeah. Well, experimenter's bias is when the person doing the experimenting or the interviewing is biased towards a result, and the other person answers the way they want. But in this case, with Lewis, what I would say is maybe different personality types answer the questions less or more honestly.
That's definitely a factor.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you're suggesting that I falsified.
No, I'm saying any of us
Well, no,
might
it's possible that also, even if like the test takes into account
It's
people
possible.
who are answering
Is the test that good?
dishonestly.
To give some comparison, Natan had the famous ENFJs, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Ronald Reagan, and Pope John Paul II. I would not connect Natan with Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II in any way. Also Joe Biden on the list, Pericles, and also Michael Moore. This is, I think, the most compelling list of famous people sharing our personality types is definitely Natan's.
Yeah. How many different letter combinations are there?
I think there's 16 total.
Can you be like a PBNJ?
No.
No.
It's only they're all. It's either E or I. It's either N or S. There's only two alternatives. I think there's 16 or 24 total potential combinations.
You know, I'm gonna say that this is probably a pretty broad description of each individual personality type. I mean, I think it's...
You can't narrow down human existence to only 16 personality types.
I don't think so.
All right, you've heard it from Lewis. We have to move on, but send me your thoughts about these tests.